Everyone, welcome to the show. So it's really hard to believe, but the Iowa caucus is in just a few months. As you all may know, that is when the election season really officially kicks off. That's the first primary of sorts where, voters head to their caucus locations. It's one of the few states that offers ranked choice voting for the primary. Well, a new Des Moines Register and NBC News poll shows pretty much what we already knew about the Republican candidates with a few minor tweaks. So what we already knew is that Trump is way ahead, right? He's way ahead of his closest rival. 43% of likely Republican caucus voters say that Trump is their number one choice. Doesn't have a majority, but he has a plurality. That is 27% higher than his closest competitor. Now, what's interesting is that the number two choice is no longer so clear cut. For a long time, it was Ron DeSantis. He used to have a sizable lead over all of the other Republicans in the race. Well, that has now changed, and I have a feeling it's going to get even worse for him in the next polls that we see. DeSantis and centrist establishment Republican Nikki Haley are now tied for second place. They each have 16% of the vote. DeSantis dropped 3%, and Haley jumped by 10%. And the rest of the candidates are still, a dismal fourth and so on. They're all in the single digits, with the next closest being Tim Scott at 7%. Vivek Ramaswamy and Chris Christie are next in line. They're tied at 4%. Now, here's what's interesting and why I think Haley might see even more of a boost in her poll numbers in the coming days and weeks. Donald Trump's Vice President Mike Pence dropped out of the race last weekend. You guys have probably all heard that. Well, Pence voters are obviously anti-Trump voters. They are the traditional Ronald Reagan-esque, war hawk, old school conservatives. They rightfully see DeSantis as a Trump mini-me. But Haley checks all of the boxes. And the thing is, people aren't going to go for DeSantis over Trump because DeSantis is so much like Trump. They see him also. The voters, the majority of the voters, even the ones who like Trump, see him as a Trump alternative, but not as someone to take his place. They see him as the 2028 candidate. Right? I mean, why are they going to go for DeSantis, Trump light, when they can have the full fat version, so to speak? And so Nikki Haley obviously is going to pick up the alternate votes, the people who don't like Trump. And the results of this Iowa poll were very telling because the Register reported that Pence voters, because when they did this poll, Pence was still running. So when he dropped out, before they published their findings, they redistributed his votes to his second choice candidate. So again, this is ranked choice voting. So they took all of the people who chose Pence first, they took those people and redistributed them to whoever their second choice vote was. Obviously, his departure helped Haley the most because she is the only one in this poll who saw a significant increase. And remember, I mean, these people are also looking at who can win. So they're going, I like Tim Scott, but he seems kind of boring. He's not really a fighter. Didn't really have a good showing when they did the debate, so he can't really win. There's still a lot of racism. They know that about their party. So that's not going to happen. They know they still have, the neo-Nazis in their party. And then the other people, obviously Chris Christie isn't going to win. He hates Trump too much. The base is, again, the plurality is solidly with Trump. Vivek Ramaswamy is just another Trump light candidate. And he's proven that he's kind of full of shit and he kind of goes wherever the wind's blowing. So yeah, they're not going to go for him. So people are looking at who do we think legitimately can win? And the poll shows that both Trump and Haley have increased support among independent voters. 33% of Republican-leaning independents chose Trump as their number one choice. Again, he has the plurality. 22% prefer Haley, And then coming in at kind of a distant third is DeSantis with only 12% of the independents. And in regard to the suburban poll respondents, Haley beats both Trump and DeSantis. So that is a demographic that the Republicans have been losing by and large to the Democrats. 32% chose Haley as their number one choice. And if you look at national polls, when they do the head-to-heads, Haley beats Biden. She is one of the few that actually beats Biden. So I think a lot of the anti-Trump people are going, look, we can't win with this guy. We can't win with Trump. Let's go for someone who can beat Biden in the general. Don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that Trump's base is ever going to leave him. But anyway, 29% of those respondents, those suburban respondents, chose DeSantis. So he is even beating out Trump with those suburban voters. Only 24% said Trump would be their number one pick. But Haley is kind of the Biden of the Republican Party as far as enthusiasm goes, because in this same poll, it shows only 19% of her supporters say that they're extremely enthusiastic about voting for her. So same thing with Biden. Everybody's like, I think he can win. I think he can beat Trump again, but I'm not really excited about him. I wish we had someone else. Now, that is, again, 19% for Haley. That is compared to 25% for DeSantis, who say they're extremely excited about him. 47% of Trump's likely voters say, yeah, we are extremely excited about him. I mean, no accounting for taste. Surprisingly, 37% of the respondents who chose Trump as their number one pick say that they could still be persuaded to vote for another candidate. Now, it's not like they're just going to automatically or of their own accord go for someone else, but if he ends up in prison, right, he ends up getting convicted, yeah, they might consider someone else. And it's even worse for Haley and DeSantis. 74 and 70% respectively say that they could still change their minds and go for a different candidate. So Trump's support is definitely more solid, more secure than the other two. The other surprise in this poll is that Ron DeSantis has a 69% favorability rating with Iowa respondents. Mr. Creepy Smile actually gained 3 points since the last poll in his favorability. He's even a few points higher than Trump in favorability, which tells you that even some people who don't like Trump are going to vote for him. And one thing that didn't surprise me at all was the drop in favorability of Vivek Ramaswamy. As people have gotten to know him, both his favorable and unfavorable ratings have increased, but far more unfavorably. So fewer people, it seems, are saying, I'm not really sure how I feel about him. I don't really know him. But his unfavorable rating jumped quite a bit. It went from 20% to 37%. It nearly doubled. So those who view him favorably increased as well, but only a little bit, only 5 points, from 38% to 43%. To me, he has always come across as the quintessential politician. He seems so phony. He seems like he's trying so hard to be a Trump clone and a populist, and he just can't pull it off. It's just not him. So anyway, as always, take this poll with a grain of salt because it was conducted by phone. We all know that skewers towards older respondents because younger people are not answering the phone. It's the older respondents, especially people with landlines. They're typically the ones who are answering. So you're going to get a skewed result. Anyway, I will let you all know when I hear more on things like this, and I will have some focus group information for you soon. So thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care, and I will talk with you soon.